And welcome back YouTube. And a slight update on our CV. Well, after the last video I wasn't really willing to throw the entire thing into the bin, so I went and pretty much tested the ship against pretty much everything I could find, until I didn't encounter something called the Lazarus. And that pretty much gave me an idea. Because, well, I saw that thing and I went, well, something like this would actually be very nice. And I built this. Yes, it's not an airship, it's more of a hovercraft than anything else. These are actually just propellers right into the hull. Still, the ship will float if it falls off the sky or something like that. It will still go and float in the sea. The guns are pretty much ripped straight off the Lazarus here, these big ones. The smaller guns are pretty much just my own design of kind of crappy. But I like it. It's still gonna need quite a lot of work on it. So of course it's not the prettiest lady in the Navy, but it does work. Also, those spawny little aircraft have been slightly bit replaced with helicopters rather than having aircraft. And I also added up a small submarine spawner underneath. Now the submarine spawner is not that. It's literally just it's a box with torpedoes. That's what it is. And and the helicopter is pretty much the same as we used in season 1. This is the vehicle 201 or 201 and F11, I think. Yeah. And as you can see, it's not particularly good helicopter. It's just this thing opens up and there are missiles inside. Yes, that's that's what it does. But as a rule, they're not particularly good helicopters. So yeah, that's how I went ahead of this. These gonna have to be fixed or replaced. And of course the submarine, I guess it could stay. It's a bot anyhow. Of course, the good thing about this little buggers are that they only cost about 6,000 material to make, and of course that means that the CV here doesn't have much of any problem spawning them into the game. But yeah, it's a hovercraft now. And the way that these things are set up, as you're gonna see, it's automated control block. Up, give me a second. Automated control block, height above sea ground less than, and then spin blocks, instant spin the spin blocks, and the 20 meters, and of course a factor range of 5. So each of these has its own settings, but they're all set to the same height, so the ship is kinda remaining stable in the air. It does kinda cause it to wobble a bit, but it works. It's actually quite violently wobbles. Previously it was a bit more stable. Well, it does work. And it can actually go over ground as well. Just, careful with the terrain there. As if it goes on too much of a terrain, it will simply, scrape the bottom. And I was actually thinking about putting like rubber blocks at the front. Unfortunately, the current rubber blocks that we're having are simple 1x1 block, and it doesn't exactly look the prettiest. Yeah, not completely sure how I put this without seriously disfiguring an entire vessel. But yeah, this is our current airship, and I just spawn in an enemy so we have something to fight against. Okay. Where is it? Oh, it's down there. And as you can see, the little helicopter is being built here. I intended to build them like half across this deck, like to have like 4 spawners at the same time. But that would not work very well, as it pulls the planes back up, and I was afraid that they may crash into one another and cause all sorts of problems there. The one problem I'm still having with this vessel is the AI. It does not work very well. Oh, it's AI that. Okay, we could stop shooting it. Oh, you still don't have ignore salvage, okay. It's okay. But yeah, otherwise, the ship, it's working, the shields are not yet completely placed and everything, and the engine power is kinda lacking at the moment. It actually has two different sets of engines, one for non-combat mode, oh god damn it, okay. For non-combat mode, which are more efficient back here, and then there are the least efficient engines at the front here, which then provide with vast majority of power needed to get the ship into action. And of course the planes now return back to itself. Let's try something a bit more difficult, like the Plunderer. That's gonna stay alive for a bit longer. But otherwise, this is working. Unless something... What the hell? Okay. That now was just bizarre. It literally slightly thumped it and the whole thing just exploded. Wow. That was really bad. But yeah, the helicopters are up in the air. The submarine, well, it's already firing, even though... Oh yes, it was released now. And we did take a hit there. And lost one of our guns. Huh. The one thing, as I said, the AI is the problem. For some or other reason, it just goes straight toward the enemy, and I'm presuming this is a problem because it's not actually in the water, and as the end result, the ship does not understand that it should angle and present its side rather than going straight toward the enemy, which causes a lot of problems because these guns are straight underneath the deck, and if they shoot, they're gonna blow, and that's gonna cause us all sorts of problems. But yeah, the AI doesn't work. As I said, I'm gonna complain about the AI a lot. And there it goes. Yeah, that's self-inflicted injury right there. Ay. But the Plunderer is not having fun times. Is at 30% now. Already lost, so... and I'm getting some lag. Oh... Yeah, well, we're taking hits because our ship cannot broadside for crap. Because it's dumb. I'm so certain that the AI is set properly, but it just refuses to do its thing. Broadside minimum range 500 meters. Enter broadside below this range 1,700 meters. Increase you slightly bit, maybe? 75 degrees, maybe placing it like in 98 degrees. That work? No? I no idea. Wait, I just remembered something. Ah, come on. Gosh damn it. Why are you showing me the card slot? Like that. Well, it ran over. The poor Plunderer. But yeah, it just... I don't know. I tried to fix it up several times over already, and it refuses to work. To me, unknown reasons. Which is a real shame, because otherwise this thing works. Well, works. It's derpy, but, well, it's supposed to work just fine. It has the appropriate amount of weaponry. Well, an appropriate amount. It does have weaponry of its own, it does have its support aircraft, everything else works, but the AI just refuses to do its job. Something that I'm gonna rant more and more often. Well, I already did rant a lot about it. No tailplanes. What? Oh. No rudder. Yeah. Maybe we should have put like a tailplane or a rudder on the back, but well, like it matters. And of course the planes are getting damaged when they take off for yet again reasons to me unknown. But currently, as you can see, a plethora of vehicles are in the air, so it does spawn them, and it does spawn them with certain amount of speed. Yeah, just need to figure out how the hell to make this AI work, because currently it's behaving incredibly dumb. Tried the aerial, tried the naval AI, I'm not completely certain. But otherwise, aesthetically looking, I think it's fine. It's not the fastest ship around, but it's relatively fast for the fleet we're building. I mean, considering this thing does about 20 meters a second, and most of the ships that we have built so far is, yeah, crash into one another. Most of the ships that we have built so far are like less than 13 meters a second. So yeah, this ship is pretty much one of the fastest ones. Let's try again something a bit harder as well. The Iron Cauldron. That should be enough of a challenge. Oh, this one has the advanced cannons and laser munition defense. Ooh. I constantly forget which one is it that causes me quite a lot of grief, and well, this is one of those. I'm just completely forgotten that it is this one. We're most likely gonna lose our ammunition rack, of which we have plenty of it, because the planes don't have that much of ammunition on board, nor the helicopters, nor the submarines, so they're actually relying quite heavily on the CV here to provide them with that ammunition, and as the end result, the CV has 15,000 ammo on board and plethora of ammunition production factories, which does, as you can see, it's not even dropping all that much. Oh, well, something blew off on the Iron Cauldron. But it's working. It's working. It's not the prettiest ship around yet. Well, considering my construction capabilities, I'm most likely never going to be, but well, it's me. You can't expect all too much. And it's this advanced cannons that caused me the most grief. Oh, come on, take it out. Shoot it. Shoot toward the center of the vessel. Don't try to hit some odd specs yet again. Oh, well. The AI. I think we have lost one of our back parts of the ship that allows the ship to stay upright in direction, so it's actually sinking now at the back end. Let's see. Yeah, we lost the rear tailplane. Doesn't have a lot of redundancies on board, so it does that if it gets hit too hard. Ooh, that was pretty decent. Hit I'm guessing. Even though, I mean, this top deck serves both as an extra armor and as also a flight deck for the aircraft. And you're already sinking. I'm still surprised that this advanced cannon that is being completely exposed on one side is still staying upright. I just amazed at actually not blowing up so far. Of course, none of these things have target prioritization, no aim point select, so... Oh well. That should dealt some damage. No more advanced cannon problems. Oh. Or maybe there still will be. Ah. Oh, come on. One hit in here. Really? Still didn't blow up? Wow, you're... I'm... This actually surprises me, because one shape charge munition, and it just hits it. It just blows this thing apart right in an instant. It just gone. But now it took more than a couple of missile hits and several cram cannon shots, and it's still staying upright. It's quite amazing. Even though, I mean, the missiles are not that much the biggest things around, and the cram cannons are mostly just pure explosive, and it's too damaged. I presume that torpedoes have done a lot of the bottom damage as well. Yeah, you can see the torpedo damage holes all over the place. I would like to shoot the turret off first before... Oh, it's actually built like this. Didn't notice it. It has like an entrance on each side and slightly bit uplip before the actual turret starts. But yeah, this is our CV. Not the greatest thing, not the worst thing, and definitely one of the biggest things though. I don't know if I already said this, but it's a volume of 32,000 in volume, and it mostly comes down to its length. It's 200 meters long. It's only 45 meters wide, and about 30 meters or so tall. So it's not that much bigger than the Lazarus is. The Lazarus, however, is only 15,000 in volume. I mean, it mostly comes down to the length of the ship. The Lazarus only measures something of 140, and it also doesn't have these flat sides here. It's actually angled inward like a proper ship, more like a proper ship, and the end result is, of course, the volume count goes down significantly. While this one, well, it will stabilize itself the moment it actually manages to repair itself, and we're in a designer, we can help it. Unlike if this would be in a campaign where we would be pretty much at a loss. Even though the repair thingy doesn't seem to be working. Someone... Yes. An oil refinery gonna blow? Really? For some or other reason, I don't see to be capable of repairing. Huh. Oh well. We can always restart. Yeah, I think it's slightly bit bugged. No. Okay, now it is. We can just hold it, yeah. Apparently clicking, it's not the best option, you should just hold it. And of course it gets out of the water and stabilizes itself just normally, as soon as the propellers are actually fixed. Even though the real propeller, yeah, it's completely fixed, yeah. And maybe I should demonstrate that it can actually go over land as well. Any land around? I think there should be some around. No, this is a bit too steep. But something like this will do. If you place it, no. Perceiving. Of course, this actually causes a problem. If the enemy would be spawned in at... Oh, this... Okay. I spawned it a bit too high. But if the enemy would spawn in, that would mean pretty much that the bot submarine would actually get spawned into the ground, and well, that's just not a good idea. And here is too much of an angle, I guess. To be stable, but it can fly very slowly over the terrain as well, so it's not that much of an issue. If it gets on the ground, it will never get itself completely stuck, unless of course there is like humongous amounts of terrain, in which case well, you can't help it. It's just not exactly designed to be an airship. It's more or less designed to be a big hovercraft air carrier. But I like it. I think it's a very viable idea. Unfortunately, my masterful skills are not that great as to consider this to be the greatest of the designs, but it does work. I think it's completely viable. The only problem is, of course, it's with the weaponry. You can't, because this aircraft carrier is having this trunk here, such a small size. This pretty much means that any weaponry that you want to fit in would have to fit into this bottom portion here, and this is why I also just copied the weapons of the Lazarus, because I couldn't think of anything that would be small enough. Missiles would work, that's for sure, and advanced cannons, maybe like 200mm advanced cannons, would work fairly well as well, but well, crime cannons definitely work, even though these are, as you can see here, very smallish in size. They are still 2000mm and they can still do quite a lot of damage. So taking this aircraft carrier more as a bombardment vessel against coastal defenses would be, I presume, the best option for it. And its planes pretty much provide some bit of an all-around capability as well. So it's not all that bad. And I consider it a success. It may not be the best, but I think it's fun. Well, yeah, that's gonna be it for today. So, see ya.